Welcome to the Orana Podcast, a show about what you will find, what you will not find in the Cook Islands. And now here's your host, Chantal Napa.
Kia rana kia koto katoto, nukone ia mātou tumu te waro Rarotonga. This is Chantal Napa, your Kia Orana Podcast host. I am going to be interviewed today, everyone, by Jarl Arneric. And what I like is that he doesn't really know much about me, Concierge, the digital card, Orana Podcast. We have just finished our own podcast recording where I interviewed, Jarl Arneric about his NTC education. And then when we turned off the microphone, he starts asking me questions about me because he's curious about me, right? And I say, would you like to interview me, Jarl? How about that? Because I've never interviewed. Well, I do, BCI report, Cook Islands TV, Cook Islands newspaper. Hayden will interview me sometimes.
Yes.
So it doesn't get turned a lot. So I said, let's just have a practice. And there you go, Joel. Ask me away.
So I said yes, and I have no questions prepared whatsoever. So what would be the best place to start with prior to you starting the Concierge podcast?
How about this?
Okay.
Start where you contacted me and why.
I contact you.
Yeah, because you contacted me in October 2022 out of the blue, right?
Yep.
And so tell everyone why you contacted me. That's a good place to start.
All right. The reason I contacted you was as part of my journey. It's good to reach out to the community and just give someone how would I describe it? If you feel good about what someone's doing, just let people know that hey, I appreciate what you're doing. I think what you're doing is great. Just uplift people, and I read an article. Hey, I already was aware of your podcast, but the moment I read the article, I think, oh, I got to write to you, just let you know what I thought about it, and just see what happens from there.
Yeah. And you did. You private messaged me, and we're not even friends on Facebook. And you said, hey, I've just read your article in the newspaper. You're doing amazing things, always moving, always traction, positive, bit of a, pioneering in the cooks in the digital podcast world and the digital, And then we had our sort of time together, right, today. Where I interviewed you.
Yeah. But
that's how you met me. And so you've just answered the why, because the why was you wanted to give me a pat on the back.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Yeah, you wanted to give me a pat on the back. And of course, anyone who gives people a pat on the back, you smile.
Yeah.
You smile. And then, when I got your message, I need those pats on the back, Joel.
Yeah. Well, we all do.
Because it's like this, when you're pioneering. A friend of mine, I think it was Ruth Marvu, a few years ago, she said to me, Chantal, when we've got the Cross Island trip, she said, right, in Rarotonga, right?
Yeah.
She goes, the very first person who cleared that pathway with the machete.
Oh, right? Yeah.
The very first person who cleared that pathway over and across the Cross Island trek in Rarotonga had a machete and was cutting the way for the thousands of others to follow behind. Right. What a great...
I like that.
Me too.
Yeah.
And she said, so that's what you're doing with the podcast, because that was back in 2020.
Yeah. And
she said, in the podcast world, you're clearing the way and creating. Do you know what? We're recording a show, sir. He's come to the back door. Everybody's like, I can hear what's behind in that office. What's going on? I don't know. You need my help with this.
No, I don't. Well, I don't really need it. I'm just when you get a set, does it come with booties as well?
Yeah, go for it. Take whatever you need at the front. That's why it's all there. Take whatever you need.
Okay.
Take a mask, take a flippers, take a booties. That's it. I love
What's
it.
your podcast?
The national greeting. Kia Orana.
Cool.
Kia Orana Podcast. I'll give this to you here. Right. If you scan that QR code, sir, it'll take you to my podcast.
Good. Well done.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sure.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Enjoy your time in Rarotonga.
You should have been at the RSA.
At the RSA.
We came over here for the
ANZAC.
RSA, for the ANZAC.
ANZAC.
Do you know what? I thought about it last night because my daughter marched. But I was up very early, and that's another story. I was peeling bananas.
This would have to be the best ANZAC service, and I've been confused.
Your best ANZAC service.
It's very, very. It was the atmosphere was so good. There's about 300 people there.
300
it is.
atmosphere.
Lots.
So it's really good.
Thank you so much
It
for
is really
sharing
good
that.
For coming over.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Have a great day.
You too.
You too.
You too. Aere Ra. They just love where we live,
Yeah.
Jarl.
Yeah.
There's just always love. And there's just always happiness.
Yeah.
And there's just always like it's in the water, it's in the earth, it's in the atmosphere, like that man was saying, you know, right? And yeah, so there you go, everyone. You all laughing? It's amazing, right? But that always happens, at Chantal's Concierge. We're on a podcast. You know, Jarl.
You wouldn't get this anywhere else.
You know, Jarl, I've had people come around the back before and I'll be interviewing, and then next minute I'm interviewing them. And they're standing at the doorway, and I'm like, I'll just push record and we'll just roll. I won't lock the door.
That's awesome. I love it.
It is awesome. Everybody who knows me and who's listening to my show will be like, yep, that sounds like Chantal. Yep, that sounds like Chantal. And so you know how you sent me that pat on the back message,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I needed it because it's like going back to what my friend Ruth said about the pioneering in the podcast world back then. Because in 2020, Joe, when Hayden and I started this in April 2020, he reached out to me.
Yeah, what were you doing before that? And so how did he know to reach out?
Well, because I read the book.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So we're in my office, everyone, and we finished recording Jarl's story, and then he reaches over and picks up How I Fell in Love with an Island book, written by my friend Hayden Adams, which is at the beginning of the show. You all hear, "Welcome to the Orana Podcast, the show about what you will find and will not find in the Cook Islands. Welcome to one half of the Orana Podcast." You know, Hayden Adams, right? Hayden's going to be like, "I'm going to kill it." So I go to Aitutaki Jarl in September 2019 with a client, Cherie Orbit Western, right? She pays for me to go. I go as her female chaperone for her holiday.
Yeah.
Because she was traveling alone, and she booked me for 4 days of my time as a female chaperone to be with her.
Oh yeah,
right?
Yeah. Good.
Pays for my flights, pays for accommodation, pays for everything. We go over. We have 4 days over there, because when you're a female in your 60s and you're traveling alone in a foreign country, she asked the concierge if I would like accompany her.
Yep.
Nice. So we get to Aitutaki, and I say to her, "I don't really want to work." And she goes, "No, you've got to do one meeting here, and then we can clip that ticket for you." So I go, "Oh, who do I know? Who do I know?" So I go down to Te Manu Resort in Aitutaki.
Yeah.
I went to high school with Nick Henry there. He's
Oh,
the
yeah,
PM there. And I went to school as well. She's a little bit younger too, but with Heidi Rose Henry, she works there too.
Yeah.
And so when I went and said hello to Nick in his office at Te Manu, there was about a dozen of those books sitting on his desk.
Okay, yeah.
You know how I fell in love with an island.
Mhm.
So we did our work meeting, and then I said, "Oh, what's this book about?" And he goes, "I have no idea." He goes, "Some American guy dropped off like a dozen of them, you know. Take one, Chantal." like real Cook Island style. Like,
Yeah.
we'll get you. I don't know. Take one, Chantal. And I said, your money. How much money? And he goes, oh, I'm not charging you. He didn't charge us. He just dropped them off for like exposure.
Okay, yeah.
So I take a book. I go back to where I'm staying with my client, Cherie, which was Aere Ra's. That was Aere Ra's accommodation. See, I'm doing all this love, shouting out.
Mhm.
And when it's a true story, everybody, you can remember stuff, right? This is a true story. So I start reading and I say to Cherie, you cook tonight and I will read out aloud.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow night I'll cook and you read out aloud. So I'm sitting there reading out aloud. She's cooking. I get to page 47, reading out aloud, laughing away. And she says, dinner's ready. So I close the book, Jarl, and then I see that there's how I fell in love with .com.
Okay, yeah.
So I go to the website, go to the contact us, and just say to him, I'm a Rarotongan, I'm on holiday in Aitutaki. I found your book at, Te Manu Resort with Nick Henry. I'm laugh out loud, laughing at your Starbucks free account of my country.
Yeah.
Right? Like that, and then at the bottom of my email is my signature.
Okay,
Chantal, right?
Yeah.
So the next day he replies, thank you so much for reading my book. I see on your signature that you're at Fruits of Rarotonga in Rarotonga, southeast side. When I'm next in Rara, which is December this year, I'll stop in.
Okay, yeah, yep.
Sheree, that man with that author replied to my life. Even the author of a book before. So in December 2019.
2019.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get a knock on the door here at the office,
Mhm.
and this American voice goes, it's Chantal here. I'm doing your best voice, Hayden. And I'm like, I'm Chantal, and if you're going to bring money through the door, then please proceed. But if you just want to know what time the bus is going to come, sir, there's a bus timetable inside the bus stop. And he goes, I'm Hayden, you read my book. And I'm thinking American accent, right?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, Hayden S. Adams. Oh, come through. I get the first line in your book. He goes, no way. And I was like, yeah, the first line in your book, which here it is, right? Here it is, the first line in your book. It made me keep reading. So I think with any story, it starts with a girl. I had met a Kiwi in San Francisco and immediately took to her. There was only one small geographical problem. She lived in New Zealand and I was in the Bay Area. So like any reasonable person, I figured I could make an international relationship across the Pacific happen and work successfully. But fate had other plans. Though I was constantly looking through rose-colored glasses. That's the first paragraph.
What a way to start a book.
But because it's romance, right? His heart and soul into you're like, I really want to know what happens here. So Hayden and I had a 15-minute chat here, Jarl, in December 2019.
Yeah.
And he says, I've got to go. My dad's here with me and my friend Ronnie's here with me. They're across the road at Fruits of Rarotonga snorkeling.
Yeah.
And I go, what's your next book? I'll look it up. And he goes, no, I'm not an author. I just read that for fun. I'm actually an IT specialist. And off he went.
Yeah.
15 minutes. Yeah. And off he went.
Yep.
And then March 25th, 2020, borders closed.
Yep.
Maybe March 27th, 25th, 26th, 27th, borders closed. Mm-hmm. And April, he emails me and he goes, hey, Chantal, kia orana, I'm bored as in lockdown. I've been doing some research. There's no podcast coming out of the Cook Islands. I could build the infrastructure. Would you like to be the host? And just letting you know, I've asked every single Cook Island person I've known to be a host and no one's replying.
All right. Oh, wow.
So I reply and I go, number one, it's Sunday. I don't talk business on Sunday. That was Akafo. I have no idea what a podcast is.
Yeah.
And then number 2, no one is replying, Hayden, because they are in shock. Like the world just closed, bro. No one is replying. I said, how about we schedule a FaceTime chat or a WhatsApp chat or whatever? And we did.
Yeah.
So he rings up and he's typical American, what's happening? You know how they're all so like positive people.
Yeah.
And then he's going, so, would you like to be the host? And that's when I say, Jarl, I have no idea what a podcast is. Then he says to me, you have an iPhone, right? Because you're calling me on FaceTime. Yes.
Yeah.
He goes, look for the purple and white icon with circles around it. That's a microphone.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, oh, yes. He goes, hit it, push it. He goes, have you ever opened that before? Nope. Don't know what it is. He goes, well, push it. You're not going to break the internet. So I pushed that icon, right? The podcast icon on the Apple phone.
Right.
And this whole like other sort of platform world, audio platform world, and I go, oh, right. Okay. And he goes, that's what a podcast is. It's audio files. It's not visual.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look up anything, any topic. Right. And I'm still in like, okay. And then he says, would you like to be the host? And I'm like, yeah, man, like,
yeah.
What else? I don't know what else I'm going to do right now. So, and then he says, give me 4 weeks to build the infrastructure. Jarl, I was like, that's a thing. 4 weeks, 160 hours of building something.
Yep.
Oh, that's a thing. Oh my goodness. And that's the thing at his expertise.
Yeah.
Which is huge.
Mm.
And he goes, your job is to go and find people to go on the show. Well, Jarl, I go around Rarotonga. Would you like to come on the podcast show? You're going to Orana Podcast, and everyone in Rarotonga didn't even know. Exactly. So I go back to Hayden and I'm like, oh my. Of course. We don't know what podcast is. So it's not like I'm bringing a new flavored ice cream to the cooks.
Yeah. Which if you went around the cooks,
because they knew they know what ice cream is.
Yeah,
I'm just bringing
would you like to try this flavor ice cream?
Correct.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Would you like to try this new flavor ice cream? Right.
Yeah.
Correct. Because I know what ice cream is.
Yeah.
They had no idea, as with me, what a podcast was. So that was, there was a lot of like, how you and I talked in your journey with your MTC education.
Yeah.
About the journey.
It's about it, and you want to educate people to, so they can share in what you were trying to achieve.
And everybody until now, Jarl, are you making money yet with the podcast? Are you making money yet with the podcast, Chantal? Why do you keep doing it if you don't make any money? Why do you keep doing it? We don't understand why you keep doing it if you don't make any money. If you don't make any money, it doesn't make like, So do you want to give up sometimes? Yes. Do you want to stop sometimes? Yes. And then it was December 2020 and I was swimming with my cousin Arnold, and he's another IT guy, local IT guy. And I was like swimming going, oh, bro, I don't know how I'm going to like pay for this thing, my time, my this, my that, the internet, He's
good on the crypto stuff.
Yeah, because Arnold is up there with IT for the cooks. Very clever.
He's a clever cookie.
Right? Very clever in the IT world. And then it was swimming with Arnold in 2020 Christmas time. And that was put together by his mum, who saw that I was giving up. And so his mum said, you need to meet my son, Arnold.
Okay, yeah.
So she organized it for me to meet Arnold, because I said, well, I don't know your son. She goes, he's an IT guy, but you need to meet my son because you need a bit of a boost, pat on the back.
Yeah.
So I was talking to him in December 2020, and then we're swimming, and then he says to me, you have two options. You give up or you proceed.
Yeah.
And he goes, if you give up, you can just sort of hibernate everything for now.
Oh, yeah.
And then pick it up again in a couple of years' time when the Cook Islands, is sort of knows what a podcast is.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes, and I'll tell you now, Chantal, you're about 5 years ahead. I go, 5 years? And he goes, yeah, about 5 years ahead. He goes, or you can keep going and collect beautiful content. And if you can keep doing it, you know, for free, he said, and by the time everybody wakes up in the cooks, you're going to be streams ahead of them.
Yeah.
And no one will be able to catch you.
Wow.
So every time
What a
I
story,
see
what a
Arnold,
story.
every time I see autism, I hug him.
Yeah.
And say to him, thank you for
What a-
telling
what a-
me either
that's-
to give up
that's
or to
great.
keep going. Because it's very simple, right? Yeah. And so I kept going, and you know, we're now reaching over 100 countries now, Jarl, and
Far out.
and over nearly 1,000 cities now.
Yeah.
And I know, it's amazing.
I had no idea you're the reach was that far
Yes,
and wide.
and you know how in your show you like graphs,
Yeah.
because
yeah,
when I interviewed you,
Yeah.
you like analyzing graphs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Or
And-
charts.
charts.
Yeah.
So Hayden has charts and graphs for us,
Oh, yeah.
of course, you know, because he's got statistic websites
Yeah. Yeah.
that he's put us onto, and so we can see who's listening, where they're listening, what city they're listening to.
Yeah.
And the Cooks has always been the number one listener, so they want it. The Cooks has always been the number one listener. Isn't that
Wow.
fantastic? In 3
Yeah,
years,
yeah.
never dropped from that front row seat, the Cooks. So what that tells me is they want to know about Yatato.
Yeah.
Us.
Yes.
They want to know about us,
Yeah.
but it's like you were saying, they're working, they're busy. How do they find time? You know, they read that newspaper article, yes, but at least with podcasts, they can put it on in their car
Mm-hmm.
while
Yep.
they're driving that 17-minute drive. They
Yep.
can listen to it audioly and not have to watch it
Yeah.
and learn.
Yeah.
And then there's that, and and then so now we're coming through that, and I mean, it's been an amazing journey. Like even the story about the Prime Minister coming on the show.
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
I remember, pretty sure I saw an article about
Yeah, so
when you
much
were about to
support.
have them on.
So much support from, you know, Mark Brown, our Prime Minister, for that.
Yeah.
And so when we spoke in December 2020,
Mhm.
it was to help with the profile, you know, to lift the profile of it, so that people could realize this is a thing. Like it's great.
Yeah.
You know, he was on the show 3 times, and he's agreed to go back on the show again now in 2023. He's just very busy man. Like,
Well, yeah,
the busiest man.
of course.
Yeah. So that story was great. So just because I met you, Hayden S. Adams, reading your book, I'm gonna write a book. Right? I'm gonna write a book. I was thinking, Jarl, of writing this book. Top 20 of 2020.
Oh, yeah.
Top 20 of 21.
Yeah.
You know, top 20 of 22.
Yeah.
Top 20 of 23. Like Orana Podcast, top 20 of 2020. That's that with the Orana Podcast.
Yep.
And then you reached out to me in October, November last year, because you read about the digital card.
Oh,
that
yeah,
we
yeah.
had
Yeah.
literally just. So Hayden came down in October last year, which is the story you read.
Yep.
And he bought his ticket, I don't know, in June or something, or July, to come, because our borders had just opened last year. And so he flies thousands of miles from America, Jarl, and he sits at the back over here of Chantal's Concierge with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so in saying this, everyone, you got to remember, this man, Hayden, I'd been doing the Orana Podcast journey with him, you know, 2020, 2021. So here he is in 2022 with me in October, after nearly 3 years of doing this project with the podcast. And he sits me down at the back, right on at the back over there, Jarl, where you are.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And this is what he says to me, Jarl. Right, Chantal, I have flown all the way here from the USA to say to you, what the is going on with Concierge? It's dying. He goes, it's dying. like you're focusing on other things.
Mhm.
Concierge is dying. I'm like, I know. I took on this job. And he goes, yeah, I know. You took on this job, right? And he goes, but concierge is dying. I go, yeah, I know. But like, you know, and he goes, tell me what you need. You know, do you need a new website? Like designed? Tell me what you need.
Oh, what?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, I was thinking of this, like, that's how the digital card came about.
Yeah.
So I was explaining to Hayden that I wanted a membership card online that visitors and locals could tap into my contacts and my connections, but not have it paper,
Yeah.
you know, like a digital card.
Yeah.
And I knew it was going to be another new thing, right, for the kids for the cooks, because we don't even digital card stuff here. And he goes, yeah, we use digital card all the time overseas for our airline tickets, museum tickets, game tickets, right?
Yeah.
And so I explained it to him, and he goes, well, let's go and ask the market. Let's go and ask people you know, right? And so we went out and we asked a few businesses, and they were like, we understand what you're saying, Chantal. Yeah, you know, yeah. We'll list if you build it. Really? Yeah, we'll list if you build it.
Oh,
So like again, Hayden said, give me 4 weeks.
Something about his 4 weeks. There's deadlines.
You know, like, and then he goes away and he builds the discount, you know, Rarotonga discount card, which now you can buy online. 7 days is $10.
Yeah.
14 days is $20. 30 days is $30, and 3-month card is $50. And you show that membership card. It's like showing a library card to everybody.
Yeah.
It's like showing a game fishing club card to people.
Yeah.
It's like showing, you know, and so you show that to the vendors who are listed on Chantal's Concierge, and it entitles you for a discount from whatever they're offering.
Yep.
And I mean, like, we are reading all about like how the price of living's going up and how that's going up, and if we can all save some money. Yeah, whether it's $1 there on the juice, whether it's 10% off your spa at such and such, whether it's like 10% off on your dining, 5% off, like it all helps and it all adds up.
Absolutely.
And it's for locals and for tourists. So fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. So that's really the digital card. I know it's going to take a year for it to get off the ground, Jarl. Thank you very much for letting me talk to my, you know, and tell everybody.
Well, thank you for reminding me of one of the reasons I reached out to you in the first place, because I needed to be reminded about the digital card as well.
Yes. Yeah. Because I do a lot of talking about my customers and clients, and I don't forget to talk about me, but you want it more to be about the community and what they're doing, which is what I do with my show and my business. It's about the community. And then when you show that support, it will come back. Yeah. It will come back to my story and the digital card. So Rarotonga discount card. Yeah, pretty cool. So while you're here, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to finish up the show for now, and I'm going to give you a 3-month digital discount card. Oh, right. Well, for a whole $1. And then you can use it around Rarotonga. Have I helped you understand more a little bit what the Rarotonga discount card is, Joe? Yeah, you have. You've helped me understand that. You've helped me understand the why. The why. Yeah. Yes. It's really about helping people, helping the community, connecting with the community, and just people helping people. Yes. Yeah. And it's like, you know, when I started Chantal's Concierge in 2016, concepted it in 2015, like I wrote the why very quickly. And so I remember the graphic designer saying to me, that must be true, because it took you seconds to write. Yeah. And it was, let me help engage your 5 senses to connect you with my island home. It's all about you and your family, your holiday, and your memories of paradise. Yeah. There you go. So it's not about me, it's about you. Because then it swings back. Yeah. It's got to be about you first. Yeah. because then you know that I care. And then if you know I care, then it swings back.
Yeah.
Then it swings back. Then the care swings back.
Yep.
Because people don't give a about you unless they know that you give a about them.
That's right.
Totally.
Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Any other questions? I'm enjoying this.
It's funny how these things come about where this isn't a question, but the very thing about, it's not about you, not about me. I was reading with my fitness journey. One of my inspirations for starting my fitness journey was because I was getting a bit overweight, because sitting in an office all day doesn't do much for your physical well-being.
Yep.
But I'd already heard of a drummer called Kenny Aronoff, who used to play with John Cougar Mellencamp way back in the day, and I think he must be about 68 by now, and he's physically he's in top shape. Eats well, doesn't drink or doesn't drink very much, and because what he does, you got to be on the top of your game all the time. So like he could be flying from LA to Dubai or something to do a show, and he's just learning the charts, the music on the way from LA to Dubai. By the time he gets there, by the time he lands, he knows what he's supposed to do, and you do a gig, and then he's off again. To do something like that, you have to be. You can't afford to be eating burgers or eating, not looking after yourself.
True.
And for whatever reason, because I play drums as well, I think I was thinking, well, if he can do it at 6, he's obviously about 10, 12 years older than I am. So I figured, well, if he can do that and keep in that shape at that age, then surely I can do it. And he wasn't a sportsman, not an athlete, none of that sort of thing. He's just somebody who just likes to keep in shape, and that's pretty much where I'm coming from as well. A lifestyle choice.
Yes.
But today I was watching it was actually a visual podcast. I was watching a bit of that today, and when he first started, he got when he landed a gig in New York, I think it was, he got fired after 2 days. He did some recordings, all that sort of thing. He got fired after a couple of days. And then when it was explained to him, and John Mellencamp was the guy he wasn't the guy who fired him, or the producer fired him, but he obviously went back because he played on a lot of the albums over the years. The reason was because it's not about you. Because the way he was playing, it was like, well, I thought I've spent all these years, all this time, learning the rudiments, learning how to play, Then you want to put all that on whatever you're playing, but people don't want to see that. It's about getting that song, serving that song, getting that to number one or whatever it is, wherever you want to take that song. So it's not about you, it's about the music, it's about the delivery. So you learn that straight away, and then his career took off ever since. Mm-hmm. So because it's not about you, it's about them, but then that comes back to you because that this has sort of been back in the early 80s. He's still performing, he's still out there regularly playing, and nearly 70, he's still at the top of his game. And that's so it's interesting how I read something like that this morning before I come on your show, vice versa, talking about that exact subject.
And also because you allowed me to see the 5 core values of MTC, right?
Yeah,
which I was reading just before we turned on the microphone.
Yep.
And it's all about support. The 5 core values are all about support, all about, learning, helping, being positive, being transparent.
Yeah.
Which are great life core values.
They are, yeah.
Right? Great life core values. Well done. Fantastic. Thanks for interviewing me, bro.
You're welcome.
Come back anytime.
Absolutely. When's the next one?
Absolutely. Everyone's laughing. Cool. Thank you. We'll chat more again another time. I really appreciate this time together. And I said to you that I'm going to interview you again in a year's time.
Yeah, you did.
If you want to do it in 6 months, you just let me know. All right, for the next public holiday.
What's that? Do we have a Labour weekend?
Yeah, they will have Labour or Queen's birthday coming up in June or Ariki Day coming up in July or August.
I was looking October. October.
Yeah, October, November. We'll find one.
Might be a year. We'll see. We'll see what
We'll
happens.
find one. Cool. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening to my story. I really, really appreciate you all coming on this journey with me. Shout out to everybody who has helped support Chantal's Concierge on the beach in Rarotonga over the years, and thank you very much once again. Nokoni ia mātou aroa I atu kia kotoka totoa. Before we also finish off, Jarl, thanks a lot. It's been cool. It's been fun. It's been nice chatting.
Thank you.
All right.
Enjoyed it.
Bye for now. Orana Podcast. See ya.